So my next question to you, this is really important because this actually came through my community and came through various friends and anyone that's going to be watching this. So if someone is in New Jersey or someone is not in New Jersey, I know you do virtual as well, but what's the best advice for someone that's looking to consider martial arts in some form?
All great questions, man. And this one's a vital one, especially for those who are not people who are, involved in the martial arts just yet. I think the main thing is to identify. The first thing is to identify why you want to learn, what you're looking to get out of, because you got to manage expectations. If you want to learn how to beat somebody up, there are plenty of places to go. And it doesn't really matter where you go in that sense because, martial arts is a self-defense. Taekwon-Do, what I practice is self-defense in the form of an offense. So you have to kind of think about what style would you want to learn that may suit you better. If you're not an aggressive person, you don't necessarily have the warlike mentality. You don't see yourself as being the aggressor. You may want to learn jiu-jitsu, a little bit more passive, and to be able to, grapple with somebody and submit them with arm locks or chokes or holds or restraints until help arrives, which is also another great martial art to learn. So I think identifying that reason is key. I'd say the second thing that people have to do more diligently is to research the instructor. Don't just, go into a random place and then say, all right, well, the class was great. Really do your research. Find a spot. All of us have access to technology or the internet in some way, shape, or form. Grab the internet up. Do your due diligence. Look people up. Look at what they stand for. Look at where they've been. If you want to go do the full Monty and get a background check, great. There are a lot. People don't know this, that there are a lot of instructors that teach that have criminal records, and that is a big problem. You really want to find people that your people are legitimately, whether yourself or whether you're putting someone in it, are being legitimately safe, especially kids. Because a lot of parents drop their kids off after a certain amount of time and they leave and they go to the grocery shop and they try to take care of something. In the meantime, you really want to leave your kid. I know me with my children, I don't trust anybody, so I want to leave them with someone that I really trust. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they've had to have done everything right in their life, but you want to get a good sense of character and judgment from them that, hey, this is probably going to be a good fit. Or I happen to look you up and, you went to Marco State, and just drumming up small things in conversation, I think are really important. These days now, I think more than ever, because you have the ability to. It's a little faster, right? And I would say after that, the next logical thing to do is to go take a class. Once you've made a decision on the instructor, take a class. Because they could look like a great instructor on the internet and then be absolutely horrendous in person. I've seen this many times. So take a class, get what the feel of the atmosphere, what the environment is with other students. If it's a starter school that doesn't have many students, I believe we have about 30-something students here. They're not going to have a packed room every night. We had 6 students last night, which is great. So you get it's a good environment to be with because you got people that have been with you forever. I've got students that travel literally 50 miles round trip to get here, which is amazing. So they pass how many schools on the way to get to here. But they've done that only because they've seen what's around their area and they've done that research. They've walked into some of these other schools, and it's okay to walk out of a space and say, hey, thank you for the class. But I don't think this is a great fit. Some people just don't want to make that they want to make it awkward. Make it awkward so that way you can be comfortable where you are. You don't want to be spending your money in a place that's going to make you feel awkward. It doesn't even make any sense to do that. And then once you assess, I think all of those factors, particularly how you're being taught, that's important. You shouldn't be fighting on any form of sparring or fighting on the first day, first week, first month, maybe even the first year. I don't recommend that. As to teachers, I don't understand why they do that. I know a lot of people I've talked to have had many conversations with people that have been like, oh, well, I used to do it, and then my question is, well, go back. Why aren't you doing it anymore? And oftentimes, I get the answer, we fought on the first day. Why you're coming here to learn how to fight? How is it that you would know how to fight, presumably walking in the door? Otherwise, you wouldn't need to be here. Mm-hmm. So, you can't be putting together, skills in a 45-minute to an hour class. Our classes are an hour long here. Even in an hour, I can't teach someone that just walked in here how to fight at the end of that hour. It just doesn't work like that. So, it's just not how your brain is wired. I mean, you can't make anyone great in an hour. So I think avoiding those pitfalls. I've taken a jiu-jitsu class. Won't mention where or who, but I've taken a jiu-jitsu class before and practically had my larynx crushed. And I was like the second class I think I took. And I realized that wasn't a good structure for a class, because I had known by that point in time what kind of martial arts class to produce, what the timeline would look like, a healthy timeline would look like for a student to hop them into something like that. And it wasn't going to be the first or second day, regardless of my size. I'm 6'3", 240 pounds. I don't need to, that doesn't mean that I'm ready to fight someone, with the skill set that they've had for 5 years. I'm going to just be a fish on land. So, intention does matter quite a bit. So, I think once you compile sort of all those things, and it sounds like a laundry list of things, they can all kind of be done concurrently in a sense. Once I think you have a good feel of all those things, again, especially if you have children, you don't want them walking out of a class with black eyes and broken arms and things like that. I don't care what kind of parent you are. I don't think any good parent, responsible parent, wants their children to be hurt or have to go to the hospital after a martial arts class, especially if they haven't had years and years and years of training. Different to be my age now and go, get knocked out, which I never have been, thankfully. But, I'm not on my first day. I'm on like my millionth day. That's a completely different story. So I think, beware of, the people out there that are just, there to. The other thing I guess I'll talk about, right, for a second is the belt school, which I think people have called McDojos before. I don't know if you've heard that terminology before, Drew, but, there are schools that sort of churn out like, okay, well, you're 7 years old, black belt. What do you mean? How do you get a black at 7? What do you know? Like, you may understand how to kick and punch to some degree, but what have you learned? Like, what life experience have you had to be able to contribute in tandem with the martial arts experience? You haven't really applied the martial arts enough to your own life yet by that point. Now, where the cutoff is, I mean, you could be 10-year-old black belt. That's okay. Junior black belts, no problem. But it depends on really what you want from the experience. If you want to just move your way to black belt, let's say in a year, there are places like that for you. If you want to, be in a system that's going to teach you something over the long term, martial arts is about delayed gratification more than anything else. In a world, especially now where it's all instant, martial arts is one of those things that sticks out because you're not going to likely get what you want out of today's class right now. You're going to get the effects of today's class 3 years from now, 4 years from now. It may be at your job. It could be anywhere you are, but there's going to be a switch. So why it works like that, that's why you have to come to me. But other than that, I think it's important that people have the right chemistry with the instructor, both parent, child. If you're an adult, you definitely want to make sure you have the right chemistry there too. And just make sure that, they're looking out for your best interest and for your safety. That's my message to people who are looking at martial arts schools or looking to get started.
That's perfect. And just for anyone watching, how can they follow you on Instagram? How can they follow you and reach out if they have any questions or even want to take a virtual class with you or visit a class in New Jersey?
Yeah, sure. I'm available for virtual classes for sure if you're not in the area. CMTKD is the name of my school in Belleville, New Jersey. You can look me up on Instagram. It's at Master Malarkey. Malarkey, has a big CM logo, much like the one here on my patch.